consistent.
Celebrating 30
years on the air on WROI is the first federal program. Hosts may have changed, but the program is still the same. Now continuing a long-standing tradition, streaming on the First Federal Facebook page and on WROI. It's time for the First Federal program.
And good morning, it is time for First Federal here on this January the 17th as we welcome a guest that hasn't been here in a while, a stranger, Evan. Good morning.
Hey Randy, how you doing?
Oh, I thought maybe you retired or something, I didn't know.
No, just getting refreshed.
Refreshed,
Yeah,
ready to go.
That's
for a
right,
new year,
ready to roll for 2025.
Well, glad you could join us. How's things going?
Very well, thanks. Thanks for having me and the First Federal team. We've got a all First Federal show today.
That's always a fun one.
A nice ring to it.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. January 17th, we're getting close to January 20th.
You know
why we're looking forward to that?
A day off?
No.
Oh.
We don't get a day off.
No, you don't get a day off.
Sorry guys. Thanks a lot, Randy. You're setting me up for failure this morning.
I just thought maybe you had a surprise for him or something.
No. Well, we got one of the local teams in the national championship.
It is. There's a lot going on the 20th.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it happens to be the presidential inauguration and MLK Junior Day. So.
Yeah.
Big day.
Big day.
They're stacking them.
It is kind of neat to have, like you said, a local team in the national championship. So.
Yeah, you like to have the buzz around. It's not just some of the other teams that have been there in a while.
Right.
I mean, there is Ohio State in there, but nobody around here talks about Ohio State normally. So Notre Dame, we're looking forward to that one.
It'll be a fun one.
All right, we've got some trivia that is pretty good this morning. It's more related to MLK Day than sports this time. So January 20th.
Now I'll really mess it up.
No, you're all over this one. In what city did Martin Luther King Jr. give his I Have a Dream speech?
Ooh.
Memphis. That's a good suggestion. Chicago. Third biggest city. Montgomery, Alabama. A lot happened there. Or Washington, D.C.
Okay. I'll think about that one.
Okay.
Put me in the spot.
And he might have gave famous speeches at all of these locations.
I was going to say, yeah.
Just saying.
At least you didn't ask which speech he gave at those
Yeah.
locations.
Our crack research team really made this a tough one for you.
Oh, my.
Well, we don't want any layups on this show. You got to earn your stripes here.
Yeah, it's still early. You're right.
All right, Tanner, let's talk sports for a few minutes.
Like you guys were talking about Notre Dame, Ohio State, national championship. Two of the most, how did I put it last week? Two of the most liked, hated, and historic programs.
Yeah.
Out of a bundle there in college football world. Two of the more iconic helmets. Of course, I was also thinking they might have the most fans that didn't necessarily go to their universities.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I bet that's true.
Yeah, because Notre Dame, of course, all over the nation. And Ohio, I've never met a person from Ohio that's not an Ohio State fan.
I haven't either.
Yeah, they call themselves the Ohio State, I guess,
right.
for a reason. But it's going to be a very interesting matchup. You got two teams who paid big bucks to get quarterbacks that had experience from the transfer portal. Two teams that have pretty good defense, and of course NFL talent just all over the field. So it'll be interesting.
I think the start is very important.
Yeah, sure. And two teams that didn't want to take losses along the way, but I think the timing of the losses were both a blessing in disguise. Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois, their second game of the season, then they got locked in. Ohio State happened to lose to the rival again. Michigan, I know Ohio State fans can't stand that. But I really think he got the team locked in before the playoffs started because they've been taking it two teams. So
I think the NCAA's got to be pretty thrilled with the matchup for this one.
I think so.
Yeah. Of course, as an IU fan, we're excited too, right? Because,
that's right.
We lost to the two losses, come to the team in the national championship.
Third place is what I say.
Right, there you go.
Right, Tanner?
You say I'll join the club there.
Hey!
But we also
He's
lost
never given an entry.
we also lost to 9 other teams. So, I mean,
this is the 1 year we've got him.
Yes. As long as we don't turn to sport, because then it's
Are we going to? Oh shoot! Here we go.
Speaking of which,
here we go.
This is the time of year college basketball really ranks up. You got conference matchups going on. I mean, it was a crazy night in the Big Ten last night. You had 3 games, and they were all decided by, I think it was 3 points or less. 2 of them went into overtime.
It was kind of the early season prediction, wasn't it?
Yep.
Preseason prediction. It was going to be a very tight Big Ten race this
Saw
year.
Minnesota knock off Michigan in overtime last night. Gave Minnesota their first conference win. Michigan their first conference loss. Rutgers won at Nebraska in a close one, and then Northwestern won in overtime over Maryland. So, yeah, it's any given night in the Big Ten this year, especially. Indiana's in action tonight.
Well, that'd be a loss.
Yeah,
Well,
they
they
may not be tonight.
They travel to play Ohio State.
Yeah.
Indiana's 13-5. Ohio State's 10-7. But both teams really need this game because both teams are struggling as of late. So
Maybe Ohio State's all thinking about the football.
Oh,
Yeah, they're distracted.
Yeah, they're distracted.
well, that's what I hear from a lot of IU fans is they're still thinking about football.
First time. Exactly.
I don't know. Can Signetti coach basketball?
Yes, he can.
That game is prime time national television night, 8 o'clock on Fox. And then Purdue, we were talking about this before on air. They travel to Oregon tomorrow. They're already out west on the West Coast. They played at Washington earlier this week. So
I assume they stayed out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
But still, even then, I mean, they were on the East Coast last week. Went back home, then to the West Coast. Then they'll be back home. I mean, it's a lot. Yeah.
That could play a factor. this
Yeah,
year.
no, definitely. They play at Oregon tomorrow, who's 15-2. That game's at 3 o'clock on NBC, so not Peacock. Usually, the Big Ten basketball games are affiliated with NBC are on Peacock. This one's actually on NBC. And then Notre Dame is at Syracuse tomorrow. Both teams 8-9. That game's at 4 o'clock on the ACC network. Butler has the weekend off.
Yeah.
Which they actually did get a win this
got
week.
a
First
big win.
snapped a 9-game losing streak.
Yeah, that was a big win for Butler.
Yeah, they needed that. They needed something.
It was going to be getting ugly.
Yeah. So, and then NFL, we're down to 4 teams in the AFC and 4 teams in the NFC left. Got the Texans at the Chiefs tomorrow at 4:30 on ESPN/ABC. Chiefs are 8-point favorites in that one. Got the Commanders at the Lions tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on Fox. The Lions are 9-point favorites in that one. Then on Sunday, the Rams travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. That's at 3 o'clock on NBC. Eagles are 6-point favorites. And the Ravens are 1-point favorites at Buffalo against the Bills Sunday at 6:30 on CBS. That should be the game of the weekend, I would think.
Yeah.
So, but there's definitely some interesting matchups there. And I know, of course, I always, as a Bronco fan, root against the Chiefs, but I don't think the Texans stand much of a chance.
I don't either.
But the NFC, I want to see the Lions win. I want to see the Rams win.
Yeah.
I want to see Matthew Stafford go into Detroit in the NFC Championship game, try to knock off his former team again in the playoffs, and what would be Detroit's biggest home game ever.
I would love that.
That's storytelling right there.
Yeah.
That's
Make it happen.
scripted. But
Yeah. No, you could. You're right. And I think they got a pretty good chance to see that.
Yeah.
happen.
I do too. Yeah, the Rams are playing much better right
They
now.
are. They are. And they're playing, I think, they're playing for the city now,
Right.
too, more than ever.
True.
True.
Yeah. In high school, what do we got going on in high school action this
Tonight,
weekend?
the Rochester guys are home with Lewis Cass, as we mentioned earlier. That is a TRC matchup. Kind of get used to it, like
Rewire
Big
the
Ten.
brain
a
Yeah,
little bit.
right. And then the girls tomorrow afternoon at noon travel to Walton for a afternoon matinee. So that's at noon start, varsity only, at Walton and Lewis Cass. So.
You a fan of the afternoon game like that
No.
on Saturday?
No.
I'm not either.
Not-
It's a lot different feel.
It is a very different
energy.
field.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get much of a crowd. We had an afternoon game last Saturday at Rochester too, and you don't get the same crowd. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been a fan even when I was coaching.
Yeah.
It's a weird time.
It's hard to play them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with the changes and everybody, a lot of guys, not necessarily Rochester, but the opposing teams are having games that night, so they try to split it
Sure.
up. So.
Sure, get them where you can.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we go from a 2:30 last Saturday to noon this Saturday.
Yeah. Which do you prefer out of those 2 time slots? As a commentator.
Probably a 2:30.
2:30.
Yeah.
Next week, 10:30.
Next week the guys play in the afternoon and the girls play in the
Okay.
evening next weekend.
Okay.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well, good luck to them.
yeah. Yep, both teams with Lewis Cass this weekend.
should be good matchups there. You got some tidbits this morning. On this day, 1917, the U.S. paid Denmark $25 million for the Virgin Islands.
Oh wow.
I wonder what that equals out to today.
Yeah. Well, they're talking about Denmark again right now.
Yeah.
With Greenland.
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yep.
That's weird.
On this day, 1929, Popeye made his first appearance in the comic strip Thimble Fever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Popeye and Olive Oil.
Of course.
Is he still going strong?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I
I'm
have
not
no
sure.
idea. I don't know if my kids know Popeye.
Reruns, maybe? I
Yeah.
don't think they're producing any new episodes or
Probably not
anything, or
any
any
new
new
ones, no.
movies or anything. But I remember watching Popeye growing up.
Me too. That's weird.
On this day in 1971, Super Bowl V took place down in Miami at the Orange Bowl. The Baltimore Colts beat the Dallas Cowboys 16-13.
And now we don't have the Super Bowl for another month.
You're right, right? Isn't that crazy? And on this day in 1995, the LA Rams announced they were moving to St. Louis. Since then, they have moved back to LA. So
I didn't like St. Louis.
no, I went to a game in the 2014 Bronco game in St. Louis, and they were already announcing their move. And I kid you not, it was half full of Broncos fans. I'm like, I think this is why they're moving.
Yeah.
Right.
But the
Economics.
Rams got the better of them that day. So, but it was also the worst NFL stadium I'd ever been to. That dome was as bland could be. Yeah.
Interesting. Now they make them all fancy.
Oh, now they're all state of the art
Yeah.
now. I mean, they just get
Technology.
bigger and better
Yeah.
now.
That LA stadium looks amazing.
Yeah,
now.
SoFi Stadium, and I know the Clippers' new stadium, the Intuit Dome, has more technology in it than any arena or
Yeah.
stadium so far in sports. So they just keep building them, like you said, bigger, better,
Crazy.
more expensive.
Yeah.
Because we keep watching them and
Yep,
go.
I mean, it's just it's a money-making machine. And today is National Kid Inventor Day, National Bootleggers Day. I don't recommend doing that. International Mentoring Day. Yeah, that's a good one. Benjamin Franklin Day. Ditch New Year's Resolution Day.
I'm going to guess that's probably already
That's-
happened
yeah,
for a lot of people.
Yeah. National Classy Day. National Hot Buttered Rum Day. Popeye Day.
Hey, there you go.
And Cable Car Day.
I've never been on a cable
I
car.
have not
No,
either.
I am not.
Nope.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
No, there's still some out there.
I'm sure.
San Francisco?
I was gonna say, go to San
That's what I
Francisco
think of right
probably,
away, so.
No thanks.
Yeah.
I'll try somewhere else. No offense. All right. Dreddy's Place is hosting a Dine and Donate event on Sunday morning again from 9 to 1, benefiting Joe's Hope. And we provide cancer support here in the community, which is a great cause. The meal sponsored by Wilson's Tow and Transport, and the egg sponsor is the Creighton Brothers.
Yeah, they always do a good job there. Always goes to a good cause, so go get a good breakfast.
Yeah.
9 to 1.
Delicious breakfast.
Hey, we had some money news this week. 2 inflation readings. They only come out once a month, and the wholesale and retail price indices were both slightly less than expected this week, which is good.
Okay.
That's the direction we're wanting things to keep settling down a little bit. Before the holidays, they had not gone down quite as much as they wanted, so they're kind of grumbling about that. The markets were, but now this was good. Should cause some short-term interest rates to drop a little or settle down a little bit. So we love that, and look forward to the coming months. New administration, so you never know what you're going to get. They don't have that much influence on things, but they do talk a lot, so that you just never know what some of the talking and stuff's going to do to the market, what the market folks, people buying and selling, are going to do. So we'll see what happens this year. Glad to be past the election. That's the worst part, is an election year.
Even on TV, if you're trying to watch anything.
Yeah, it's
or
terrible.
browsing online, for that matter.
Yeah, so we'll be looking forward to that being behind us for sure. And First Federal today, we're open from 8:30 to 5. You get that extra hour on Fridays.
Yeah.
You can come in and visit. Everyone's in a good mood on Fridays. That's why we want to have ourselves open an extra hour, so you can come in and visit with us. And then tomorrow, 8:30 to noon on Saturdays. We mentioned this earlier, but we are open on Monday. That's something that we've continued to do. So if you need some banking services, we'll be happy to help you out, and we'll be there for you. Simply free checking, or free gift. I think this might be close to our last week for
Yeah, we
that
got
coming
one
up.
more week. Next week's the last week.
The popcorn popper has been an eye catcher. I've been hearing about that one a lot from customers and seen some referrals flying around. So if you would like to get a last chance at that, you better convince someone to come in and open an account. Or if you don't have an account with us, a checking account, we'd love to help you with that. And you'll find that we're a great place to bank, friendly people, and we love seeing you. So we'd love to be serving you in that way. Also, hey, weather's not warming up yet. I think we better find some wool clothing items for next week. But it's never too cold to start getting your pre-qualification done for purchasing the house you've been wondering about. So we would be happy to meet with you and look over your financial information, your job situation, and help you kind of plan for, hey, what should I be looking for house-wise? Because it really is still very competitive. When a house goes on the market that's in pretty good shape, it doesn't last real long. So a lot of people looking, and we'd love to help you get prepared, be very comfortable about what you might want to offer. And we can do that. That doesn't cost anything. We like to be consulting and helping you out with that opportunity. So please contact Ben Dalton or Stacy Wilson at our Rochester branch, or Ryan Austin at our Winnemac branch to get pre-approved today, and we can help you kind of get set on that and feel very confident going into when houses are going to start appearing on the market as things warm up in the next few months. It's a good time to be thinking about that. Also a good time to contact Mark Blubauer or Brian Bell from our financial services department. New year, you might want to review that financial plan you've got. Not everyone wants to work until they fall over at the end. You know, you kind of want to have that period of time where you can retire, and you've had a plan over the years that'll allow you to do that, and you can enjoy the last few years of your life with family and doing things that you've been maybe wanting to do all along. So to get that done, you usually have to start planning pretty early on when you get a job, and that's always a recommendation, because the number of years that you're saving is the biggest factor on how robust your retirement finance plan can be. It really takes a lot of time. So I would encourage you to talk to those gentlemen about that. They can even help you, if you've got a 401k through your employer, they can provide you advice on how you might want to be investing that. So a lot of times you get the choices on where you want to put those dollars, and just have a full plan on everything so you can have that peace of mind and be enjoying things along the way. All right, we'd encourage you to like us on Facebook, follow us on X. We do this.
X.
We can, sure. Wasn't that what the old cowboy Des Bryant would always do?
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Maybe we don't want to do that.
The coachless Cowboys.
Yes. Watch for Deion.
Deion Sanders, do you think?
Wouldn't shock me.
Okay.
I don't know, he keeps talking how much he
I
loves
know.
Buffalo.
I
It
know.
seems he wants more money.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, now, the interesting part will be what they offer, if they can get his son there.
Right.
I think if you can pull
That's true, Andy.
pull both of them.
Would Jerry be willing to trade Dak Prescott away?
Right.
That would open everything up. Yeah.
I think if he opens that up and says yes, I think you're right, he's gone. But if Jerry says no, thank you, then I
it's
think
probably involved stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
That could happen pretty quickly.
Oh, it could,
Well,
definitely.
yeah, money talks.
Well, we are the only locally owned bank in Fulton County. We don't want to be the biggest bank, Randy, just the best. Our borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. We are FDIC insured and an equal housing lender. We have a lot of expertise in home lending, and we really love doing that. Our NMLS number is 399927.
Attaboy.
And I told you we had an all First Federal show today.
It is.
We're welcoming Jodi Wynn to the program. She's our Vice President of Deposit Operations, and our Retail Operations. Got a lot under her responsibility?
Just a little bit.
How long you been at First Federal?
Well, in addition to everything else, on the 20th, it will be 21 years on Monday.
On Monday.
Too. Yeah.
Tanner?
So I get the
All
day
right.
off.
Okay. No, you got to finish out strong. You got to be at work that
You
day.
can just work from home.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dog will probably really enjoy that.
Well, you've made your career in banking, and I didn't tell you we were going to talk about this, but
Okay.
I am curious, like, you know, banking as a career isn't something maybe high schoolers are thinking about necessarily,
I
but
wasn't thinking about it, were you?
I wasn't either. But you got to think there are bank and financial institutions in every town almost. They're important pieces of the overall local economy. So you did end up in
I
banking.
did.
How'd you end up in banking,
You know,
and what got
it's
you
a
there?
funny story how I ended up in banking. The summer after I graduated from high school, I worked the park department. They had the summer park program.
Oh,
and
yes.
that was like a couple weeks or whatever. And mom and dad were, I think, complaining to their friends that I wasn't going to have a job and they didn't know what I was going to do and they didn't want me sitting around the house.
Parents were worried.
Yeah. And one of their friends happened to be Mike Trone at that time, Farmers and Merchants Bank.
Yeah.
He came over to the house one afternoon.
Right next door.
Yeah, and said, "Hey, you want to be a teller? You can start Monday." And so I became a teller that summer through college, and went with them for a few years after that. But had he not walked in the door and offered that job as a summer teller, I would never even considered it.
It's funny that you say that because my start in banking wasn't too dissimilar. I had an older sister who had worked at First Federal in the loan department for Jim Snyder, and her job was filing papers all day long. Sounded terrible to me, to be honest with you. Yeah, you've done it too. But when I was looking for a summer job in college, she recommended I talk to them about a job there, and the job they had at that time for that summer was on the teller line. And so I interviewed with Ann Bazo, and she gave me that opportunity, and I really enjoyed it. And I think
Yeah.
you're saying you enjoyed it too, because you stuck with it.
I stuck with it, went with them after college, and here we are.
Yeah.
I came to First Federal because I was working in Manchester, and I was wanting to be back in my hometown and work with the people I lived with and those sorts of things and not drive. So
That
It was
happened
a
to me,
good
but I
mix.
was working in Winnemac. Funny? Well, it's worked out well. 21 years.
21 years,
Not
yeah.
yet. Let's
Don't.
not rush it. We got
Next Monday.
I've
Yeah.
got to make it through the day.
finish Monday. That's
See how
right.
this radio
You can
program
take Tuesday
goes.
off. Yeah. That's great. Well, let's talk about some of the interesting things going on at First Federal right now. And one that's getting a little buzz around town is a new
A
ATM.
new ATM, yeah. I don't know why we picked the day of cold and snow to put a
It's
new
more
ATM
exciting.
in. But let me tell you, that work crew with our company that does ATMs, they work hard and it didn't even phase them. They were out there 8 o'clock in the morning with the snow coming down. I looked out at one point, like, man, I hope that's the old ATM sitting in this parking lot and not the new one. They had it replaced, and so it's a brand new ATM machine. Our other one was getting outdated, and we had a lot of comments about it was hard to see in the sun, and the screen was little,
It's true.
and all these things. And so this new one is fabulous.
You got to check it out this weekend.
Absolutely, I will tell you that. I hadn't seen my parents in a few nights, and I saw them last night, and Dad was so excited. He was like, "That's great! I don't care what that cost. It was you can use your tap card at it instead of putting the card inside of that, and it's got a big screen radio
Yeah,
saying he
I
was
just
really
used it
enjoying it."
yesterday and I was totally shocked. I'm like, whoa, I like this. Yeah.
So we're actually getting new ATMs, at not just Rochester, but all of our ATM locations. We have 7 in northern Indiana, and those are all getting over the next few weeks. I think one's happening Tuesday in the cold too. So
Well, hey,
it'll
the
be
good
good.
news is if it works in the cold, it should
Yeah,
work
a
in
lot of
the
confidence
right?
after
Yeah.
that, right?
You know, there's 2 heaters inside that ATM building, so we keep that machine at prime temperature.
You need a warming shelter sometime, Randy.
There you go.
We'll help you out.
Hang out in the ATM.
And I think other people commented that they think it's quicker. The new
Okay.
machine is, obviously it's new systems moving quickly.
Well, I think tap overall moves pretty quickly. I'm getting used to doing that when I'm shopping as well.
Well, I will say that the screen is very touchy. So you have to make sure you hit in the right box. Yeah, or you have to back out into
Well, because the other one,
Yes.
the old one, you had to hit just
happens.
below and different
Uh-huh.
things, and so if you've gotten used to that,
Yeah, no, you have to be very precise where you hit, because it'll take you to some place that you didn't want to go. Yeah.
You want to get some practice this weekend then.
well, I
Have a
encourage
few
everyone
reps.
to come check it out and use it. It still does the deposits like the other one did, all the same features, just a little bit newer and enhanced in that tap feature, and bigger screen. So come check it out.
I love that you can deposit any time, day or night, into your account
It
from the
goes in
ATM.
right away.
Checks or cash. That's pretty great. So well, nice job on that. We're excited to get all those refreshed.
Yeah.
I know some folks think new ATM, they think the whole building is replaced, but really that building just houses the computer that's the ATM, the functional
Yeah,
machine.
they opened up the front of it and kind of. I mean, they can't be light. I didn't go out in the blizzard, but it took them some time. I mean, they worked all day on it.
All right, let's switch. Thinking of checks, one thing that I thought might be important to talk about, just for our local friends and business owners, the incidences of check fraud seem to be really
Yes,
increasing the
very
last
good,
couple of years, I would say. The volume of checks in the system has continued to trickle down with more people tapping, like we were talking about. But the check fraud is actually kind of on the rise, it seems like.
Yeah, and it is because, funnily enough, the check laws haven't kept up with technology and all those things and how we interact. So, with automatic payments, we can send these back and you see those, but with checks, you have a really tight window. You've got about 24 to 48 hours to notice that something's not right with the check and let us know and let us process it if there was a problem. Sometimes we don't check our accounts that often and we don't know.
I know it.
And
It's tough to be that vigilant on a day-to-day
And
basis.
those scammers and those fraudsters have figured that out. So they've gone back to this check fraud.
Yeah.
Because they know you only got a limited amount of time, so they have a better shot of scheming you out of money.
Yeah, because when you think of like cybercrime and things like that, we're so focused on the digital stuff.
Protecting your passwords.
It is a little jarring when they go back to the old paper and get
Yeah.
you somehow.
They're going the other way.
Yeah, you're looking this other way.
We
So.
see it locally. I mean, it's happening around here all the time.
So
We're not in a bubble, right?
what can a business do about this?
Well, first, individuals, it's happening to individuals and businesses. Everybody needs to just pay attention to your account. I know maybe you don't want to look at your account every day, or maybe you do. I was talking to some high school students this week, and they told me they claim they look at their app every time before they do a purchase. So maybe that's a habit to get into, but check your account, make sure those things look right. But for businesses, those are probably high dollar amounts. They have to keep more money in their account.
Yeah.
So we've got some programs at the bank that we can help them, and one of them talked to us. It's called Positive Pay, where you can get an email every morning if there's a check when a check tries to clear, and you can say, "Yep, that was us," or "No, it wasn't." So you're absolutely in that return time frame instead of catching it in the afternoon, like we're a few hours too late.
Yeah.
So it's a really handy system. We call it Positive Pay. It's free for business customers to enroll in.
We really highly recommend that. It's something that, it does change maybe your habits or procedures a little bit, but not too much, really.
No, not too much. Because, you probably have a department who's focused on finances anyway, who's going to be naturally going in and looking at it. And honestly, even though we'll help you if something happens, just the hassle of it is worth the time of a couple minutes a day to go and look at it.
And it gives you that peace of mind. That's worth a lot.
Absolutely. If you are interested in that, come see me, Evan, anybody. We'll talk to you about it, get you the right people.
We'll get you connected there. Okay, some other popular things in the last year or two, thinking of as interest rates have risen, that's not great on the lending side.
No, but it's fun for people who want to save money.
I know, and that hasn't been fun for quite a few
Not
years.
in my world hasn't been fun. Like, well, no, the rates aren't very good.
You can't believe how long rates were like under 2% for any length of time on CDs,
And
many
you don't
years.
live in a world. I think we want to, but you can't have low borrowing rates and high deposit rates. It wouldn't work very well for the bank, and so you have to have low rates, but we don't anymore.
Yeah, so CDs have been certificates of deposit, you might know them as that, but those have been back being an interesting product again in our communities. And why don't you explain what a certificate of deposit is if some folks don't know what that is, but also let's talk then about some of the offerings that we have that are
Absolutely.
kind
A
of neat.
certificate of deposit is a great account for savers that's really safe. It's kind of like a savings account, so you're able to put your money in, but you agree to a length of time, so anywhere from 3 months to 5 years at our bank. And for that, we'll give you a higher rate of return on it. So you say, I'm going to put my money in for 1 year, and I promise I won't take it out for that year. And for that, you're going to get something like a 2 or 3, 4% rate instead of the 0.03 rate that you would get in your savings account. So if you know you don't need the money, get some more interest on it. Now, you always can get it. There might be a penalty if you take it out earlier. but
Right.
it really
One
is a
thi-
great savings tool.
One thing I had a question on, someone was asking about penalties. Okay, I've said I would keep that money in there, but I needed to get a portion of that out.
Yeah. We'll charge a penalty only on the amount withdrawn, and you'll know when you open the CD, but generally it's about half the term's worth of interest.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. It's only on the amount you want to get out.
You don't have to take that all.
I don't think
for
that
sure.
a lot of people knew that.
And you can open with little as $500. And I think over the past few years, we've had and continue to have people who've never had a CD before really talking to us about it and questioning it and going into that space because they've never had the money or they weren't sure or now they're saying, oh, those rates look pretty good. Maybe I do want that.
They also don't take very long to open either.
No,
you can
not
get
at all.
in and out and get that money earning something for yourself. Tell us about we've got 3 CDs that are a little bit unique.
Yeah, we do. A lot of the CDs are pretty normal. You put them in there, you put the money in there, you wait the amount of time, and we pay you interest. But we have 3 special ones at First Federal. I don't know that other banks do, maybe they do, but these are our 3. We have one that we call an Easy Access CD. It's a 12-month CD. But the great part of it is you can deposit into that CD as many times as you want during that year, as long as it's a deposit of $1,000 or more. So if you got extra money, you can put it in there and earn that higher rate.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
great.
extend the maturity or anything. But even the better part is one time a month you can withdraw $1,000 or more out of that CD with no penalty if you like. That's kind of fun. If you have something's coming up or you have that kind of stocks away, you can plan for $1,000 or more a month to come out of that. That rate right now is 2.75 with an APY of 2.78. So it's a little bit lower than a regular 12-month CD because it's got those flexibilities, but it's a nice flexibility.
I like the convenience, and that's been our most popular CD
It
for
has been
quite
for
a
a
while.
long time. I think we introduced that way back when we opened our Mishawaka office. I think.
2008.
Yeah. Then the next one we have is an 18-month CD. So again, that's 18 months, but you can deposit into that $100 or more throughout the 18 months as often as you like. Can't withdraw, but you can deposit. That was that's a really attractive one for someone maybe doing an individual retirement account, saving for retirement, and wanting to put monthly contributions into that.
Oh, that's a good
It's a nice
suggestion.
one for that, yeah. And then that one's paying 3.5% with a 3.55% APY. Then our last really special one, I like this one a lot, is our 2-year. We call it our 2-year 2-option CD. So it's a 2-year CD. You've got 2 things that you can do on it. You can deposit into it twice during the 2 years. But the other really fancy thing is one time during the 2 years, if you're watching rates, you can be like, oh, you know what, I have a low rate on that. The rate sheet rate has gone up. We'll raise your rate one time in it. And take that for the rest of the term.
You can get the current 2-year
Current
rate on
2-year
that.
rate. So right now that rate is 3.5 with an APY 3.55. But say in 6 months we raise that to 4, you can be like, hey, Jody, I want to raise that up. And we'll do that for
We'll
the
say just for
future.
you.
Just this time.
This time. One
I
day.
think that's one that people kind of don't take advantage of, or kind of they have and they oh that's great if you don't watch it. And so I think that's a really nice CD that you can.
Well, we've been speaking to Jodi Wynn, our Vice President of Deposits. Been doing a great job. You preceded me at the bank, trained me on several things also. But we've enjoyed being a teammate together with you for my whole career at First Federal, and we've got a few more years yet to go.
Just a
don't we?
couple.
All right, let's get back to our trivia this morning. In what city did Martin Luther King Jr. give his "I Have a Dream" speech? Randy.
I'm going to go with DC.
Washington, D.C. is correct. Do you know where it was in Washington, D.C.?
Now you're really
You
pushing
get multiple
it.
choice
All
for
right,
that.
steps of the Lincoln Memorial, right
Okay.
there with
Sure.
the mall and everything.
Yeah, makes sense.
August 28th, 1963 was when that occurred.
All right.
So good trivia today, Tina. Let's end our show with these words of wisdom from Hans Selye, a Canadian scientist. Adopting the right attitude can convert a negative stress into a positive one.
All right. I like it. Evan, Jody, Tanner, thank you very much.
Thanks,
We'll
Randy.
talk to you again next Friday.
We'll look forward to it.